Hi, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Paul Chartier. The new from Red Cross, the new streamline, more aerodynamic Wynn Stevens. Hey Wynn, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
You've been taking up some running and good for you for doing it.
Thanks, no one's really called me streamlined ever, but I appreciate it.
You're getting there, yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
Well, you are taking care of yourself, and from the Red Cross, you take care of our community. We all know the symbol. It's probably one of the top 5 most identified symbols.
It is number 2. The only one that has more national penetration is Coca-Cola.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Well,
So we're right ahead of McDonald's. That feels pretty good.
good. Well, you all do great things, and I know that when something happens, you personally go to places that we watch on TV and are in the midst of it. Tell us an overview of the Red Cross, because we know some of the things,
Sure.
but not all the things.
Yeah. Well, locally, we really focus on 4 services. Disaster services is probably what we're most well known for, and it's one of the things that we do most often. People always see us at large calamities, and they see our volunteers and our staff deploying when we have places, things like Oklahoma recently. But the thing that we actually do more often than anything are single-family house fires. Last year, we had 543 families who received Red Cross assistance because their home burned. So almost 1.5 a day on an average. Folks that seek out our services for that. We also do health and safety training, CPR, first aid, pet first aid. If you want to learn mouth to muzzle resuscitation, we can teach you that. And we had about 16,000 people that certified in one of our 27 courses last year. And that's, again, everything from adult infant CPR and first aid to first aid for first responders to continuing ed credits for folks like paramedics and those kind of things. We also have our service to the armed forces, and a lot of folks don't know this unless you're a member of the military or have been in the military, or your family, someone in your family's been in the military. If you are a soldier and there's an emergency of some variety back home, someone passes away, someone gets ill, there's a birth, there's a financial crisis, something that needs your attention. Nowadays, your family can find you. They can call you on a satellite phone or they can email you or whatever. But the military actually won't release a soldier from his or her duty until they hear from the American Red Cross. So we actually verify the message. We then have a protocol that we go through with the military to get that message delivered. And then on the back end of that, we provide support services to the soldier if they need to come home, help them with finances if they need it, help get them rides from the airport, those kind of things if they needed to be with their family. And last year we had over 600 emergency messages that we delivered. That's just in our area, between members of the military and their loved ones back home. And then if you're in Fayette County, you've probably seen the Wheels buses roll around town. We have a fleet of about 50 vehicles, and we operate that in conjunction with LexTran. And it's the paratransit system for Lexington and Fayette County. And last year we had 145,000 rides. Oh my gosh. And we did 1.2 million miles just in Fayette County. Wow. So that's a really big program. So those are our 4 core services. We occasionally get into some other things that are a little bit unusual. We have some international tracing we do from time to time. Had a really successful story. Helped 2 daughters from the Congo reconnect with their father, who they hadn't seen in 15 years. Wow. Just a little while back. But those don't happen every day. But the 4 services, disaster relief, preparedness, health and safety training, service to the armed forces, and wheels transportation. We do those every day, day in, day out. So if you add all those numbers up, and I'm not going to, and I'm not going to ask you to do that, that is mighty impressive. Well, thank you. We feel good about the work that we do, all of us that work there and all of our volunteers. And I really need to point out, 95% of the Red Cross workforce are unpaid volunteers. When you see someone on TV letting a client cry on their shoulder because their home's just been blown away from a tornado, chances are that person is there not being compensated, and they've agreed to go for between 10 and 14 days with about 8 hours of notice. That's who makes up the American Red Cross. There are those of us who are paid to administer it, to make sure that everything's running, do those kind of things to make sure we have the resources we need. But the majority of our workforce are unpaid volunteers. The drivers of the Wheels program, are they employees or volunteers? They're employees, yes. And how many drivers do you have? Gosh, it varies because some are part-time, some are full-time and all that. But the Wheels program has about 100 employees, believe it or not. It's by far almost 10 times larger than our core staff is our Wheels program. So when, if people want to get involved in the Red Cross as an employee, more primarily as a volunteer, what do they do? Well, they can give us our office a call, which is 859-253-1331. or they can visit our website, redcross.org/bluegrass, and I think they'll have those up on the screen for folks in a little while. They can, if they didn't get a chance to write them down. There's a section on there about becoming a volunteer. We have a full-time volunteer coordinator whose job it is to make sure that when folks call and want to volunteer, they get the information that they need, and they're able to get involved in the way that they want to get involved.
And for volunteers, I mean, that sounds like a big commitment, that people with 8 hours notice, pack a bag and go.
Sure.
Who are these people?
You know, they run the gamut. They're from all walks of life. Folks, obviously, most of them have a little bit of flexibility in their schedule. So we do have some retirees, but we have folks that are self-employed. We have folks that just have jobs that allow them to get off and do those kind of things. We have spouses that stay at home and raise children and do things like that, but can afford to take some time off when the time is needed and those kind of things. So.
Well, I'm sure you thank them profusely in every way possible, but thank them now.
Yeah, well, we do want to say thank you to our volunteers. It's an impossible task without them. If you imagine having to pay for the services that we provide, having to pay the staff, we couldn't do it. There would be no disaster response.
Well, speaking of funding,
yes,
it sounds like there's a lot that you do and a lot that goes into your vehicles, the employees, you do something for the volunteers, supplies. How are you funded?
We're funded 100% by volunteer contributions. We receive no state or federal funding for anything that we do. And so we're funded because individuals and corporations send us money to carry out our mission. Congress chartered the American Red Cross to provide disaster relief to all citizens of the United States, and they gave us $0 to carry out that mandate. But that's okay. We get very generous support from lots of businesses and lots of individuals in this region and around the country. And
to be redundant, what's the phone number if people want to get
Absolutely. 253-1331.
Great. You've got a box of goodies here, Win. What's going on with this?
So this is a disaster preparedness kit, and you know, Paul, we all know it's not a matter of if a disaster is going to strike.
Right.
It's a matter of when. Invariably, we're all going to be impacted by one at some point. It may be a power outage for a little while, or it may be something that's really serious that takes several days to recover from. But what we want is for all people to have a kit, to make a plan, and to stay informed. If folks will do that, they're going to weather a storm or a disaster, whatever the case may be, much better than those who have not. And a recent study showed that 88% of Americans, 88%, are unprepared for disaster. And you know, it's one thing for me to think, well, I can scrape by, I can get through, I can go 3 days or whatever it may take. I have a 4-year-old son. It's not really fair to ask him to take on that burden as well. We have to be prepared for those that we love, for our spouses. And you know what? We need to take care of ourselves, because if we are ready for a disaster, if we can get through the disaster with as little discomfort as possible, we're able to get back to work more quickly. We're able to continue to do things in the community for others. It's just a really critical thing. So this is now that I'll get off my high horse.
And you recommend every home has one of these?
Every home needs to have one of these,
okay.
Absolutely. And again, you can go to our website and get information on what should go in it. But this is a very basic one. You can see the Granger Corporation provided this one to us. And it's just got all kinds of really important and useful things that you need in the event of a disaster. It's got a flashlight. It has a first aid kit, an emergency blanket, because not all disasters take place in the summer. You would not need one today or when the show's airing, but you would probably need one sometime soon. We have a weather radio. We have a multi-purpose tool for things like that. Lots of batteries. We have some sanitizer. We have lots of cleaning supplies in here. Trash bags, not just for trash, but if you need to gather up your clothes, keep them safe and dry, just things like that. It's really important to have this. You also want to make sure you have 3 days worth of food, and you have 3 gallons of water per person per day for 3 days. And that's really critical. You know, we can get by with a little discomfort. Without food and water, we don't typically hold up very well.
I didn't hear chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate is not in there, but actually, you know what's interesting? If you get one of the pre-made meals, a lot of them actually do have chocolate in them, because it's a good source of calories and energy, and it's very stable. It doesn't go bad.
Right.
So actually, chocolate, you know, chocolate wouldn't be a terrible thing, and Goodness gracious, if your house blows away, maybe maybe the one thing that make you feel better is a nice bite of Hershey's.
You're going down happy.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So, but you know, again, these are simple things to put together. They don't cost a whole lot of money. You can pick them up. Again, this one came from Granger Industrial Supply. They put these together. Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those places will have this kind of stuff.
This is on your website.
Yes,
Maybe.
redcross.org is actually the best place to get the kit stuff. And you can go there and find out all about what to put in one.
And what else is on the website that people might find when they look that would drive them to the website, because it sounds like it's a great website?
Well, you know, it is, and there's a lot of really useful information on there. There's information right now. It's very hot in Kentucky, and there's information about staying safe in the heat. There's information about staying safe around the water. We have safety tips for pretty much every season of the year. We have information on disaster preparedness. We have information on classes if you want to take a course to get prepared. All kinds of great stuff like that. We've got great stories from some of our clients that have been helped. If you want some heartwarming, feel-good, pick-me-up stuff, as long as you don't mind shedding a tear or two around your computer, it's a great place to pick up on that stuff as well.
And when, in the last couple minutes, I guess you could always use more volunteers.
Can always use more volunteers. We always need funding to carry out our mission. Those things are critical. We can't do anything really without either of them.
So to kill two birds with one stone, have the volunteers bring the money.
Perfect.
And you've got two things going on right there.
Absolutely. Go next door to all your neighbors. Tell them to pony up.
That's right.
Bring it in with your volunteer application. We'll get you set up.
So for volunteers,
yes,
for people that can donate 8 days to a week or two, they should call you. But for people who just want to donate maybe a couple hours a week,
sure.
What do they do?
They can call in as well. We have lots of volunteers who do less committed things, you may say.
They're all important.
They're all important. They also have a really important purpose. We have folks that come in and answer the phone for us, so that our front desk administrator can go and work on other things. We have folks that come in and help keep weeds out of the garden out back, flower garden, not vegetables. We have folks that come in and help us shred old documents. Lots of stuff that makes an office run. We get a lot of those back office functions handled by volunteers and helps keep our administrative costs low. And
in the last minute, where are you located? If people want to drive by and pop in, where do they go?
We're located 1450 Newtown Pike, out near Marriott Griffin Gate Complex.
Same side of the street.
Same side of the street, exactly. You can come out. Next time you're out on the Legacy Trail, you can just take a little detour, come by our office. You can see all the buses that are in our parking lot typically. And again, you can find us on the web, redcross.org/bluegrass, or you can give us a call, 859-253-1331.
Wynn Stevens, you're a great representative and ambassador for the Red Cross. Thank you for what you do, because I know you go there and do it, and take a thanks back to your office as well and all the volunteers.
Will do. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks, Wynn. I am Paul Chartier. We'll be back next time on Heart of Gold.